In this tutorial, we are going to make a simple dialogue web application using PieChat. Our application will take advantage of PieChat's ability to interact with the rest of the web page to present the user with an animated character that reacts to the conversation. Note that Packy the cigarette pack will either smoke or become sad depending on the topic of the conversation. In order to create a PieChat-based dialogue application, we will need to download a few things from www.piechat.com. We'll need the PieChat library, the sample project, and PieChat Studio. Now that we have the necessary software, we will plan out what we want our dialogue to contain in LibreOffice Writer. Now that we have the content of the dialogue planned out, we will open PieChat Studio, which we downloaded earlier, and start developing the dialogue. Please refer to the documentation to learn more about the various features of PieChat Studio. PieChat uses regular expression-based conditions to decide how to react to user input. Here we are going to set a couple of constants to equal regular expressions that will indicate agreement and disagreement. For the purposes of the tutorial, we will keep them simple. The regular expression tester will allow us to quickly test if the expressions match the intended input. Now we need to set the appropriate conditions. We can now test the dialog to see if it behaves as intended. Now we need to add some interface settings which are going to be in the JSON format to indicate to the rest of the web application which character animations should be displayed during particular questions. A quick test to make sure the settings are performing as they should. Now we are going to use Visual Studio to incorporate our new dialog into the sample project we downloaded earlier. First, we need to make sure that the interface project references PieChat. The sample project already comes with the dialog file, which we will replace. But first, we'll check to make sure that the sample project compiles and runs. We'll update the references to the dialog file to point to our new file. As you can see, the dialog has changed to the new dialog file which we created earlier. Now we'll take these images of Packy, the kid-friendly cigarette pack, and use them to produce some simple animations using JavaScript. Now we will make some changes to the interface to be able to incorporate the animated character. First, we'll make the main div larger so that there is space for the image of Packy. Then we are going to change the main div HTML markup to add an inner div on the right side, which will contain the Packy image. Now we are going to add a simple JavaScript that will cycle through the images to produce animations. In a production environment, we would not want to put this JavaScript in the global scope, but we'll do that here for simplicity's sake. If you would like to know how to simulate namespaces in JavaScript, thus avoiding polluting the global scope, you can search online for JavaScript namespaces. Now the most important part. We are going to modify the code that handles the response from the server to check for the interface settings that we set earlier in PieChat Studio. To do this, we will parse the JSON string of interface settings into an object and check the properties of that object. Then we will call the animation functions that we wrote a few seconds ago with the values of the interface settings properties. Now we'll see if this works. It looks to be working well. And now we'll put some finishing touches on the interface and clear the browser cache to make sure it is displaying the correct background. And there you go. That's how you can make a simple, character-based interactive dialogue. To learn more about PieChat, visit piechat.com. Thanks for watching.